Everybody dreads the oral presentation. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're taking EN 101 here at Columbia Green Community College, you're going to have to do an oral presentation. I'm going to try and remove as much stress and anxiety as I can by answering all the questions you might have about this assignment. So you might ask, what will I present on? You're going to pick one of the essays you wrote for me this semester, and you're going to turn it into a 3 to 5 minute presentation. And I'll talk about each one of the essays in a minute here. How will I present? Well, if you're taking the class in person, then you will present in person during class at the end of the semester. I'll either send out an email with sign-up dates or I'll pass around a sign-up sheet as we get closer to the end of the semester. If you're taking the class online synchronously, then you will present during class via Zoom, and I will send out an email with sign-up dates as we get near the end of the semester. If you're taking the class online asynchronously, then you will record yourself presenting and upload a video to YouTube. There'll be a discussion forum where you can share a link to your video, and that discussion forum will have a couple of handouts or screenshots to help you get the video recorded and uploaded properly. When will I present? In week 15 or 16. How will I be graded? Just like my other assignments, there's a rubric that shows exactly how you'll be graded. And the rubric is actually in this module. We'll go look at that in a minute. The scores are going to reflect your comfort with the material in your presentation. So if along the way you've been picking essay topics that you actually care about, then you'll probably do fine on the presentation because your comfort with the material will come through in your presentation. Now, another part of your grade will be based on you evaluating one of your classmates' presentations, and you'll pick which one. So what else do I have to do? Well, in addition to presenting on one of your papers, you must evaluate a classmate's presentation, any one you want. And you will use what's called the oral presentation evaluation, which is linked right here, and it's just a copy of the rubric. You'll use that to score one classmate's presentation. Now, only I will see the scores you give to your classmate, and the scores you award your classmate will not impact their grades. So the reason you're doing this evaluation is because it's a SUNY requirement. So we have to satisfy SUNY's requirement that students evaluate a presentation based on established criteria. So the way I have you do that, you will evaluate one of your classmates. But again, the scores you give your classmate will not impact their grades. That way, you can be honest, you can be critical, and you're fulfilling your part of that component according to SUNY. So if you go with the narrative essay and turn that into a presentation, your objective is to entertain us for a few minutes. Don't read your essay to us. Instead, tell us your narrative as if you were telling us a story in person, at a bar, or at a party. Just talk to us. You can be as animated and descriptive as you want. If other people were involved, go ahead and have them join you and be part of the dialogue. That would be fine. If you turn the compare-contrast essay into a presentation, you'll educate us for a few minutes. Again, don't read your essay to us. Instead, teach us about your two subjects in the surprising ways that they're either similar or different. For this one, feel free to bring in visual aids and provide first-person examples to help us better understand your analysis. If you decide to go with the research essay, you'll want to convince us for a few minutes. And like above, you're not reading your paper to us. Don't do that. Instead, spend a few minutes convincing us that your position on a specific issue is based in logic and that you understand both sides of this complex issue. A slideshow could be helpful, an infographic, a handout, or some other visual material, if that works for you. Let's take a look at the other materials. Here's that rubric I was telling you about, and we'll also see that this is a survey that you can fill out online. The rubric shows exactly how I'm going to grade your presentation. And the way it works is a 1 would be a not so good score, and a 10 is a perfect score. So time, you have between 2 and 5 minutes. And of course, there's some flexibility here. If you need a little more time, that's fine. It runs a little short, that's not going to be an issue. The idea here, make sure that the time you take to do this feels appropriate for what you have to cover. Leaving things out, that'll hurt your grade. But at the same time, going way overboard and taking forever to make your points will hurt your grade. So just make sure the time you take feels appropriate for the information you're going to share with us. Now, clarity. This one's a little more objective, looking to make sure you can speak loudly and clearly. And I'm hoping you can avoid the and you know, and I don't know, basically sort of utterances that come along with a lot of first-time presenters. So that's something to be aware of anytime you're speaking to people. Be mindful that you need to speak clearly and directly, and you want to avoid those little utterances that take up space and time. Interest. This one's a little subjective. Were you able to hold our attention for the entire time? Now, I'm going to be interested in what you have to say, but at the same time, if I'm sitting there and I can't wait for your presentation to be over because you're taking forever and you're not really getting to the point, that sort of thing will impact your grade. At the same time, if you're just rushing through and the thing is over and I'm left going like, what just happened? You're not going to really hold my interest. So, going along those same lines, we've got passion. Did you seem passionate about your topic? And I put this one in here because I think most people can tell when the person they're talking to actually cares about what they're talking about and when they're just going through the motions. So, make us think you care about your topic, even if you don't. Then finally, organization. This one's pretty objective. The narrative has a way to organize. You use chronological order for that one. If you go with compare contrast, you would go with either chunking or ping-ponging, and the argument you would lead with your opposition and then move into your points in support of your position on the issue. And we've got a couple of other things to look at. I made cheat sheets for each one of the essay presentations. You can look at these on your own. They're just pretty standard little forms you might fill out for yourself to give you notes to kind of guide you along. And then the oral presentation evaluation, this is just a digital version of the rubric I showed you. And then I've given you a link to an oral presentation somebody did for me in an asynchronous online class last year or a year or two ago. Now this one's pretty interesting. That's why it's in here. And it's not like I would expect anybody to try and emulate this exactly. I'm just showing you that, it's not like you have to just sit there in front of your computer screen dreading this and talking to us. You can get creative. You can get playful if that's your sort of thing. There are a lot of ways you can do that. So that's pretty much everything I have for you. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. If I didn't, if there's anything you're still unsure about with this oral presentation, just come up here, click on the envelope, send me an email, and I'll do my best to clarify.